All right, so we got the full summary for the Chapter 1080 spoilers here, and we're going to go more into Garp's rampage in this video because we only got a little brief details about it yesterday in the first batch of spoilers, and, you know, it was kind of significant and exciting, but now that we know what's really happening in the chapter, Garp's feat is way more significant. Like, just reading what we're going to be reading here, I think this is already one of the greatest feats in the series. Yeah, that's right, Garp. I mean, he was already considered one of the strongest ever, but let's get into it. So the title of the chapter is The Legendary Hero. The reader request in the cover is Hiyori and Kawamatsu are playing with origami paper. The chapter starts in Hachinosu, the pirate island. We see how some pirates are talking about someone's breakout. Then we see that Koby is escaping with other prisoners. So that's fascinating. We did not know about that before. In the spoilers yesterday, it did not talk about the pirates are talking about someone's breakout. Now, this could mean a lot of things. I don't want to jump the gun, but this could mean that possibly something happened off panel again, like, you know, something major significant possibly, or it's talking about Egghead maybe. I don't know. I think this might mean what we think it does. And when I say what we think it does, just think about like the most grand expectations that you have of a character in One Piece breaking out of somewhere. In a little flashback, we can see how Perona found Koby in a cell. Perona told Koby that she would release him only if Koby helped her to release Moria, who's imprisoned in a deeper cell. We can't see Moria in this chapter. Koby accepted Perona's proposal, and now he's helping to release other prisoners too. Other random pirates in Hachinosu try to capture Koby. They want to give him to the Cross Guild because Koby's bounty is 5 stars. 1 star is equal to 1 treasure chest that contain treasures for the amount of 100 million berries. So Koby's bounty is around 500 million berries. So that's interesting. We didn't know about this before. We didn't know that there was like other people that are being held captive by the Blackbeard pirates, and that Perona somehow made her way here too, because we saw that she found out about what was going on with Moria when like he confronted Blackbeard. You know, the only time we pretty much saw him post time skip when he was looking for Absalom, only to find out that Absalom was slain and his fruit ability given to Shiryu. And then Blackbeard asked Moria to join him, but we don't know what happened after that. He was kind of reluctant, and I guess he's being held captive because he was refusing to join him. If Perona does successfully help Koby here and vice versa, it would be interesting to see them be their own little independent faction. Not Koby, of course, but Perona and Moria, who I thought for sure would just be joining the Blackbeard pirates because they kind of have to, just to survive, you know? Hey guys, but real quick, I just want to talk about gamer subs because I love this stuff. I take it almost every day before I have to do the work that I have to do with YouTube, you know, the editing, the research, all that stuff. It helps so much because it doesn't just have caffeine in it like coffee or whatever. It also has nootropics, which make me feel so focused, energized, and calm all at the same time. Really great stuff. Now, I don't go to school, and I know that a lot of you do, so this would definitely will help with your studying and anything else you have to do. And I know we're coming towards finals, so I know things are getting pretty stressful for you guys, and if anything can help, it will be gamer subs. Check out their mango meta flavor, blowhole blast, misfits melon, dragon fruit, citrus lemonade. They've got tons of flavors and they're all fantastic. So check out the link in the description and make sure you use code BIGZ. That way it'll give you a great discount and you'll be helping me out too. Thanks, guys. And also, I talked about this yesterday, but Koby's reverse bounty, I guess you can say here, could be Oda like winking at us, telling it like, yeah, this is how strong Koby is. He's about 500 million bounty level. Maybe, maybe not. I think it's probably accurate. Normally, the bounty of a Marine captain in the Cross Guild is only 1 star, but Koby has the hero title for the Marines. So his bounty is much higher than a normal Marine captain. Koby is now running from the other pirates. He's acting as a decoy for the other prisoners. I also wonder if this is like where Koby is going to wind up. Like maybe he does successfully escape the Blackbeard pirates, but just winds up in control of the Cross Guild. I would actually like that because that gives Luffy at least kind of motivation to meet with the Cross Guild, which I personally can't wait for, because I'm not necessarily going to say the Cross Guild is going to be allies of the Straw Hats, but I don't necessarily know if they'll be just like bloodthirsty enemies going after them. They might meet on somewhat of a neutral ground. Some members of the Blackbeard pirates pirates are watching all from the Skull Fortress in the middle of the island. Pizarro has the Shima Shima no Mi, which is island fruit. Pizarro merges himself with the wooden floor and the stone wall, making the Skull Fortress move and talk. The skull doesn't have a Pizarro face. It seems like he doesn't want to intervene. He says, I don't want to wreck the town right after they finish repairing the rocky port. Vasco Shot has the Gabu Gabu no Mi, which means liquor. He creates a liquor bubble and flies on it. He says he wants to burn the town together. So that's strange. Yesterday we found out that he did have the liquor fruit, but I thought maybe he just got stronger the more drunk he became. But no, I guess this means that he can like manipulate liquor because he's creating a bubble and flying on it. So interesting. I mean, this is actually a really valuable ability. I mean, it's not necessarily water manipulation, but it's the closest thing we've seen so far to it, aside from like the ice abilities and what of course I think Emu has, which is straight up water manipulation, and this could be a parallel to that maybe. San Juan Wolf has the Deka Deka no Mi, which means enlarge, and of course we also talked about this is like the confirmation that San Juan Wolf does have a devil fruit that makes him bigger on top of inherently being a giant, so that's why he's like one of the largest beings in the One Piece verse. But apparently he's just sleeping, and only 3 of them and Shiryu are on Hachinosu, and Shiryu is standing in the Skull Fortress with Pizarro. A flashback about Teach and Koby starts. Teach wants to make Hachinosu a kingdom approved by the world government, and he wants to be the king. That's why he kidnapped Koby, to extort the world government. Koby says to Teach that they can't use him for negotiations since he is a sword member. Kuzan explains that swords members are Marines who officially resigned and returned their codes. They can attack Yonko without approval of the world government, and they are not bound to chains of command, but Marines take no responsibility for them and can cut them off anytime. So that's fascinating. We didn't know this about Sword. We kind of just had like the insinuations of them where they were like, I don't know, undercover, which is partly true, but we didn't know about the whole thing about them resigning and returning their codes. And also, you know, without having approval of the world government, they're not bound to chains by command. I think this is because of what Garp set up. I mean, it's not confirmed, but I do think Garp is the leader and the creator of Sword because, you know, it goes back to why he never wanted to be an admiral in the first place, because he never wanted to be directly tied to the celestial dragons and have to protect them and whatnot. And also another interesting thing I think about this sequence is Kuzan explaining what Sword is, because I think he is actively a member of Sword like right now as we speak. I think that when he faced Aki Inu on Punk Hazard, the stipulation was winner would become fleet admiral and the loser would join Sword and infiltrate a Yonko crew. And that of course led us to where we are now. Despite everything, Teach still thinks that he can use Koby's hero title to pressure the world government. Back to the present, Sword arrives and attacks Hachinosu Island while some of their members are introduced. Commander Hibari, the girl that appeared with Helmeppo asking for help to rescue Koby in chapter 1061. She is a sniper that uses Vegapunk's GP flower bullets that turns enemy gunpowder to flour. Rear Admiral Kuchaku, she is Vice Admiral Suru's granddaughter and Muchi Muchi no Mi user, which means whip. She can command anything she whips, including buildings. She's the girl that appeared next to Prince Gruz in chapter 1061. So I'm glad this was cleared up. We were talking about this yesterday. Wasn't really sure who this new Kuchaku was, or Kujaku, the granddaughter of Suru, but we did see her apparently in 1061. She's this woman right here, and her ability sounds similar to what Super S has from One Punch Man, if you're familiar with her, where she whips people and they like fall under her control. But Super S couldn't like control inanimate objects like buildings. Rear Admiral Prince Gruz, he's the Gunyo Gunyo no Mi user, which means clay. Gruz can control clay and can create golems. He even can change other swords members' bodies to clay. Wow, we didn't know about this. And this is already, I think, one of the best fruits. It's pretty incredible just for the sound of it. Now, this isn't a Logia, because I'm pretty sure it doesn't say that he can manipulate his own body. And I'm not sure how the clay is being produced here, but it seems like he could just kind of just make it out of nowhere, kind of like how Logias produce their things. And I thought that this would be similar to Caribou's swamp Logia fruit, but maybe it's in the same kind of category, but it's just like one level below that. Maybe not. The other sword members that were next to Prince Gru in chapter 1061 appear in this chapter too, and it seems that Gru creates golems of them. Kuchaku traps all pirates in the middle of the island thanks to the building that she controls. Garp's ship appears flying in the sky like the Thousand Sunny when it uses Kuda Burst. Helmeppo and Tashigi are with Garp in the ship, and Garp drops in the middle of the island and uses a massive punch attack called Galaxy Impact. And the kanji means fist bone impact, and Garp's punch destroys the entire town. And he says, "Do you know who you kidnapped? Koby is the future of the Marines and my beloved apprentice." End of chapter. Break next week. So that's incredible. We didn't know that he destroyed the entire town. Pretty sure yesterday we just talked about him blowing some buildings over, which is of course impressive in the One Piece world, but at this point it seems like, you know, all of the top 25 people can do that. But destroying a town, an entire town, all of Hachinosu possibly, not the entire island, but the buildings and whatever in it, ultra impressive. This is definitely like only the top 10 people can do this. Maybe even just the top 8. But it is expected of Garp to be able to do this because he is, you know, debatably, arguably, at one point in time, he was the one above all in the One Piece world. I mean, aside from Imu, because, you know, she kind of never came out and did her thing, at least not since the Void Century, but known people in the world, Garp was probably the strongest. Like, yeah, I mean, even like amongst Roger and Whitebeard. I know that's controversial, but it's really between them. It's just subjective, I guess. But I think Garp is more so implied to be Pirate King level, if that is a thing. So it's understandable that at the age of 78, he is still unbelievably powerful, because that's kind of how things work in the One Piece world. I mean, there does seem to be a point of diminishing returns. It's not like you can just live to be 150 and you're just, you know, constantly in your prime. But I think this will be Garp's last hurrah. Like, he's going to have some incredible feats here, do some really cool things, but I think he will ultimately die by the hands of Blackbeard here, unfortunately, or at least one of his crewmates. But let me know what you think about this chapter in the comments, guys. Is Garp going to successfully save Koby here, or is he going to die trying? Let me know. If you liked the video, please give it a like. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.